Hi, it's Heather Joy with Perfectly Curated Life. Tomorrow is Super Bowl Sunday, and it's one of the biggest food and snack days of the year. I have a few tips that will help elevate your chicken game and take your wings from good to great. So let's get started. I'm going to run through the recipe and a few preparation tips and then really do a deep dive into the cooking method, which is where the magic happens. So let's start by looking first at the ingredients that we can use to make the chicken light, crispy, and have that perfect crunch. One of the first things that we do is to give our chicken a little bath, either overnight or at least for a few hours, in buttermilk and seasonings. The longer you marinate it, the better the chicken will taste. The buttermilk has a little bit of vinegar in it, and that really helps to tenderize the meat and give it a nice, chewy, soft texture on the inside that goes as a perfect foil against the crispiness that we're going to get once we fry it. So starting with the buttermilk bath. Once the chicken has marinated, you want to pat it dry. So this is actually without the marinade on it. What I'm going to show you while I'm cooking is with the marinade on it. You want to make sure that your chicken, if you're not doing chicken wings, if you're going to use either boneless breasts or boneless thighs, they're cut down into nice bite-sized pieces. Number one, they're easier to eat and to handle for a party setting. And number two, they have a better chance of being crispy because that oil is just going to circulate all around the little small piece and give it that lovely bite of crispiness that we're looking for. So that's number two. Now let's talk about what we actually use to put into the batter mix. It's a dry mix that we're going to have. So the secret ingredient, or secret ingredients, are two. Number one, cornstarch. So instead of just using regular flour, you can either use a combination of cornstarch and flour in equal parts, or you can use cornstarch exclusively. And that's going to help a lot with the crispiness and with the texture. The second weapon is just a little bit of baking powder. So for every 2 cups of cornstarch or flour, you're going to use 1 teaspoon of baking powder. You cannot, unlike in baking, you cannot substitute baking soda. It will alter the flavor. It'll be a little bit bitter. It's not what you're going for. So only use the baking powder. The other ingredients that we have are garlic powder, onion powder, a little paprika for color, salt, regular salt, and pepper. So I'm going to mix 1 teaspoon of all of these in with the flour and the cornstarch, and I'll be back in just a few to show you what the frying process looks like so that we can see that together. All right, this is where the magic happens. The chicken has been dredged in flour. It's ready to go into the grease. I'm going to fry the chicken twice. Once at about 300 degrees for 4 minutes or so that it cooks through, and then I'm going to crank the heat up and refry it to get it nice brown and crispy. You can see I have some cooling racks here, and with a little bit of paper towel, you want all of the oil to go off of the chicken so that it'll remain nice and crispy. So let's get to it. We don't want to crowd the pan, so I'm just going to put these in one by one, making sure that each piece has enough room to breathe. And I'm going to continue doing that with all of the pieces. And when they have gotten a nice pale color, I'm going to take them out, do it with the rest of the chicken, and then crank that heat up. So I'll be back in just a few moments to show you the next step. All right, the first frying round is done. You can see it's a very pale golden brown. Now we're going to crank that heat up and get some color on it. So the first time is to cook, the second time is to color. I'll be back to show you what the final product is going to look like and to give you some tips on a great sauce. All right, the chicken is done. You can see it's nice and brown and crispy. On the stove, I'm heating up a little quick sauce that has equal parts honey and soy sauce, 3 cloves of garlic shredded up, some ginger, and a little bit of rice wine vinegar. I'm going to just mix it until it's a nice syrupy consistency and then pour it over the wings. That'll be the very last step. So hang with me for a couple more seconds and we'll get there. Okay, so now the sauce is done. While it's hot, I'm just going to spoon it over the chicken so that it'll fully absorb, and then garnish it with some black and white tuxedo sesame seeds. This. And you are done. Thanks so much for letting me share this pre-Super Bowl Saturday with you. Enjoy the big game.